The earth trembled, dust filled the air, obscuring the crimson sky. A lone warrior stood defiant, his silhouette framed against the setting sun. His name was Kale, and he was humanity's last bastion against the relentless horde. He gripped his energy blade, its blue energy humming, a stark contrast to the monstrous figure before him. It was a behemoth, a horned giant with skin like molten rock and eyes that burned with infernal fire. The giant roared, a sound that tore through the battlefield, echoing across the shattered remains of the city. Its massive clawed hand slammed down, forcing Kale to roll aside as the ground cracked beneath the impact. Kale lunged, his blade singing as it cleaved through the air. The giant roared in pain, a burning gash etched across its chest. But the wound closed quickly, the giant's molten blood hardening like obsidian. Kale knew this was a fight he couldn't win, not alone. He had to buy time. Time for what, he didn't know, but hope, even a flicker, was a flame worth protecting. 50 years ago, the world had been a different place. Technology had reached unimaginable heights, pushing the boundaries of science and innovation. Mankind stood at the precipice of a new era, a future bright with promise. Then came the cataclysm. It started subtly. Global communication systems began to fail. Power grids overloaded and collapsed. The very fabric of their advanced society started to unravel. Then came the earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions, each more devastating than the last. The world watched in horror as their technological marvels turned against them. Their once bright future was consumed by chaos and destruction. From the ashes of the old world, a new reality emerged, a reality where humanity was no longer the dominant species. As the world descended into chaos, something remarkable happened. 6 individuals scattered across the globe underwent a dramatic transformation. They were ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances. They discovered they possessed incredible abilities, superhuman strength, the power to control the elements, the ability to heal the sick and injured. These 6 became known as the Paragons, beacons of hope in a world spiraling into darkness. Led by the enigmatic Dr. Eleanor Vance, a brilliant scientist who had foreseen the cataclysm, the Paragons united humanity. They established sanctuaries, provided aid, and fought tirelessly against the unknown forces that now threatened their very existence. But their victory came at a price. Dr. Vance disappeared, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery and a prophecy that would echo through the decades to come. The years following the cataclysm were a time of immense struggle and adaptation. Humanity emerged from the ashes, forever changed by the events that had reshaped their world. They learned to harness the remnants of their shattered technology, combining it with the raw power of their new environment. Swords forged from the wreckage of fallen satellites, shelters built from the husks of toppled skyscrapers. But they weren't alone. The cataclysm had not only awakened powers within humanity, it had also ripped open the veil between worlds, unleashing creatures of myth and legend into their reality. Elves, with their mastery of nature's magic. Dwarves, their forges burning hotter than ever, crafting weapons of unparalleled strength. And the enigmatic Fae, creatures of whimsy and trickery, their allegiances as fleeting as the wind. Section 5. A Boy Awakens. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a child was born. His name was Klaus, and he was different. Even as a baby, there was something extraordinary about him. His eyes, a piercing blue, seemed to hold ancient wisdom. At the age of 6, while other children played games of make-believe, Klaus experienced his awakening. It happened during a raid on his village, a horde of monstrous creatures descending upon their fragile haven. Fear gripped the villagers, but as the creatures closed in, a surge of energy erupted from Klaus. It knocked the attackers back, throwing them into disarray. When the dust settled, Klaus stood unharmed, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. He had awakened as a paragon. But his powers were unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. He was different. He was special. He was the last. News of Klaus's awakening spread like wildfire, reaching the ears of those who had long awaited the fulfillment of Dr. Vance's prophecy. The prophecy spoke of a child born under a shattered sky who would inherit the mantle of the Paragons. A child who would possess the combined might of all 6 original Paragons. A child who would lead humanity to its ultimate destiny. But the prophecy also spoke of a great darkness. a force that would stop at nothing to corrupt the child's power and plunge the world into eternal night. From the moment Klaus awakened, he was thrust into a world of secrets and conspiracies. He was hunted by those who sought to control him, to bend his power to their will. Klaus was taken in by a group of nomadic warriors, skilled in the art of survival and combat. They recognized the potential within him, the raw, untamed power that surged through his veins. They taught him to control his abilities, to harness the energy that flowed within him. They trained him to fight, to defend himself against those who would seek to exploit him. But more importantly, they taught him about the Paragons, about their legacy and the burden he now carried. They told him stories of their heroism, their sacrifices, and their unwavering belief in humanity's potential. As Klaus grew, so too did his powers. He mastered the elements, commanded the forces of nature, and could even heal the sick and wounded. He was a beacon of hope, a symbol of humanity's resilience in a world determined to break them. Years passed, and Klaus blossomed into a formidable warrior, his powers surpassing even those of the original Paragons. He became a symbol of unity, rallying humans and non-humans alike under his banner. But the darkness that Dr. Vance had foreseen was also growing stronger, its tendrils reaching out from the shadows, corrupting everything they touched. Ancient evils, long dormant, stirred in their slumber, drawn to the immense power that Klaus radiated. And then the prophecy was fully unveiled. Klaus discovered that he wasn't just the last Paragon, he was the key to an ancient power, a power capable of either restoring the world to its former glory or plunging it into eternal darkness. Now, as Kale fought for his life against the molten giant, buying precious time for a world teetering on the brink, he placed his hope in the legend of the last Paragon, the legend of Klaus. Somewhere out there, in a world ravaged by chaos and shadowed by an ancient evil, Klaus was preparing for his destiny. He trained relentlessly, honing his abilities, readying himself for the inevitable confrontation. The fate of the world rested on his shoulders. The last Paragon had awakened. The final battle for Earth's future was about to begin.